think you deserve a bigger paycheck.
Yeah, of course. What kind of question is that?
Not me. I'm really happy where I am. A lot of employees want a raise, but avoid asking because it can be awkward and a stressful experience.
Yeah, every boss, worker, and company is different, but no matter the circumstances, experts say that you shouldn't maybe wait to start laying the groundwork for what you want, if you want, the best pay increase that you can get. So, reporter from Yahoo Finance, Jeanie Kim, joins us now to talk us through this, because I think a lot of people don't know how to ask for a raise, and so they just don't, right? Why is it so nerve-wracking to ask for a raise?
Well, it's an awkward conversation to have. No one is good at it. Everyone needs to practice. So exactly what you said before, the groundwork. You really need to lay that down, and how to do that is always keeping tabs on what you're doing, the highlights. Every time you do 110% or more, but also just the regular work that you do solidly performing, keep it on a notepad that you have very readily accessible, on a Google Doc, wherever it is, so that you can look at that when you're going in to ask for that pay raise.
The problem is, even with the U.S. unemployment rate at its lowest in years, I mean, we're talking a 4.1%, which is where the rate is right now. The difficulty, I think, for a lot of people is knowing what the average income or salary is for your job in your industry. Some industries are easier to figure out than others. For example, if you're a law associate and you went to a top 10 law school, you probably know what other associates are making at other firms. But if you work, for example, in this business, what you may earn. There's a range. If you're working in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and you're working in New York City, the ranges are different, even though you may have the same job. So how do people figure out what the number, the data that they should have when they go in to talk to their boss? Because that's what the boss is going to say. Well, that's not what we pay because the range is not there.
Right. So 200,000 jobs were added in January. Over 300,000 jobs were added in March. And so there are more jobs out there. But if you check out, wetfeet.com, salary.com, glassdoor.com, these websites can help give you some sort of base mark, but it really does help to do research. Ask your colleagues that you're comfortable with. More people, especially millennials, are sharing their salaries with their coworkers. They realize that it really helps give them a leg up, knowing, what
I have noticed that. I have noticed that more people are willing to share. Back in my day, and I say my day like I'm an old man, but like, I used to work in finance. People didn't talk about what you were earning, but it seems like younger people are more willing to have that conversation because they feel as a monolith they may be able to demand for things that they wouldn't be able to do on their own.
Yeah, and maybe just ask for a range if they don't feel comfortable giving you a number. And then work off of that range.
That's smart. So according to new analysis from the Bureau of Labor Statistics data, just 68% of an employee's compensation, on average, comes from salary. So there are other perks. What are some of the other perks?
Okay, so there are perks like time off, flexible work schedule. There are perks for your benefits, right? So you can always negotiate these things. And especially for, like, let's say a working mom like myself, and there are people out there that re-enter the workforce and have a really, really hard time balancing it all. It really does help to ask for that flexibility with your manager, and that is sometimes worth more than money.
Yeah, so true.
Well, let's talk just for 1 second the flip side. In other words, for companies, and they're looking at their staff and they're thinking, sure, the unemployment rate is low and business is good, and I want to keep business. I want the business to remain good, so I'm going to have an advantage, or I should think that it must be harder for me to give money to an employee when I want to sort of keep it to keep the revenues up. What are they thinking? Is that how they're thinking, or they're like, no, I definitely want to give you more money?
To keep you.
Well, they want to be smart. They want to keep you happy if you're a good worker, right? Retaining you is going to cost them less than finding new talent. So always know that when you are at the table, that it's going to cost them quite a bit to get somebody as good as you. And a lot of times when you're asking for this raise, you've been already operating at that next level. So make sure that you have those data points, that you remind them. And even if they don't give you something right away, that is a good check-in for them to know this person wants more, this person is not shy to ask for it. And that's a real confidence boost for the employer as well.
Cheaper to keep her. I say that about wives too. Wives and employees.
I love that.
Good advice, Anne Marie. Good advice. Jeanie Kim, thank you so much.
Thank you.